Are you looking for 10 powerful ways to implement differentiation in the classroom? Hey there teachers, Marian Busfield here with Engaging Curiosity. In my first video, I identified differentiation as a pillar of classroom management. And in my most recent video, I shared that differentiation in classroom does not have to be overwhelming. According to Carol Tomlinson, a leader in differentiation, the strategies all fit under these 4 umbrellas. Content, what the student is expected to learn, and or how the student will access the information they need to learn it. Next is process, how the student interacts or engages with the learning in order to learn. Product comes next, which is how the students demonstrate they understand the material. And lastly, we have to consider the learning environment, the way the classroom operates and feels to the students. I encourage you to see how many of these strategies fit under more than one umbrella as I go through the strategies in this video. More importantly, as you go through, I'm hoping that you will recognize that you are already differentiating. Focus on recognizing what you are already doing and then decide which one you will implement next. One at a time, because an overwhelmed teacher is not going to help anyone. So 1, provide differentiation for learning styles. Sage on the stage instruction is slowly becoming a thing of the past, as non-stop lecturing is recognized to be largely ineffective, as not all students are auditory learners. Are you including videos, notes on the board, projects, hands-on activities, teamwork, and collaboration strategies? Teaching multiple learning styles involves including visual, auditory, and kinesthetic instruction. Perhaps there will be a verbal interaction with some notes on the board, then a short video, some classroom discussion with accompanying notes on the board, followed by or integrated with a hands-on activity of some sort. Okay, the next one, number 2, is differentiating the challenge or complexity of content. Okay, let's stop by chatting a bit about Vygotsky's theory on the zone of proximal development, or otherwise known as ZPD. This identifies what a student may not be able to do on their own, but may be able to do with appropriate support and guidance. Think of the ZPD as a bullseye target. In the center is what they can do independently. Any work that you give them here is just practicing what they already know and may, over time, lead to boredom and disengagement. The next circle out is what they can stretch themselves a little bit to do with appropriate instruction. Any work you give them to do here can be energizing and engaging for them. This is their ZPD. Finally, the outer layer is work which is beyond the student's grasp, and that will be frustrating. The possibility that all of your students are in the same ZPD at the same time in all subjects is nil. Sorry about that. However, there is still hope. Students may need different entry levels for their learning, but that does not mean entirely different lessons for each level of student. Okay, so let's take a look at differentiation in the classroom, examples of entry levels. Students whose understanding of a lesson is at an entry level may only be required to complete tasks such as remembering and understanding, which, for example, could be simply answering comprehension questions for a story. More confident students may have an opportunity to apply and analyze the content, so they could write a different ending in the same vein or identify the inferences in the story. A higher level of mastery could be asked to complete tasks in the areas of evaluating and creating. This could be summarizing the book and comparing it to a similar book, or writing a story of their own that is similar in some way. There are also resources, such as those shared below, that are differentiating the classroom examples of how to have students working on the same content, but with different levels of challenge. When working on the maintenance strategy, for example, you can alter the complexity by using resources that move the location of the unknown number, or providing student recording sheets in different formats, or changing the format of a question from an equation to a number bond. Teachers can alternate the complexity of the content. You also find a link to resources that I have created for this exact purpose in the comments below. You could also, number 3 is supporting at different paces required. We all know that some students need more time than others. My students typically had as much time as possible to complete a task. One of the routines we practiced in September was what to do when finished early. By having that expectation well organized and firmly established, the students became very independent, leaving me to maintain my focus on those who were still working and needing support. One year in December, I bought a little bitty 2-inch tall gingerbread men for everyone. My students built a Lego story for the gingerbread men, and I took pictures of each student's creation. Although they had a good 2 weeks to work on their stories, I could see that a few were really digging in. Not wanting to curb their excitement or enthusiasm, I did allow them to work on them in the new year. I thought I'd experiment with that, and I just had other writing tasks for other students to transition to. We used writing prompts at that time. That was some fantastic engaged writing that occurred simply because I had the next task ready for those who were ready to move on. Number 4, differentiated grouping can look like many things. Flexible grouping can be a huge part of your community building plan, as long as you approach it with wisdom and monitor the groups. Is it essential during the current activity that they work with someone at their own level? I once had a student who came in the middle of the year. As he walked through the door of my grade 2 class on his first day, he told me he couldn't write. His writing, in fact, wasn't great, but his drawings were amazing. However, as his writing improved, he contributed artistically to a few group projects. It was wonderful for him to experience admiration for his art as he grew in confidence and ability with his own writing. And just a bit of a spoiler alert, he did improve tremendously by June. And 5, providing differentiated assessments. Many teachers find the idea of providing differentiated assessments overwhelming. However, it doesn't have to be. Students can be given the option to share their knowledge through art, writing, speaking, and building structures. Creating a simple choice board that can be repurposed for multiple projects can be a time-saving way to allow students to determine how best to share their knowledge. I also love giving students an opportunity to see each other's work, whether as a simple walk around the room or a more formal as in presentations. This generates ideas in students and is a great support for students to try a different type of project the next time round. 6 is learning goals and objectives that are appropriate for each student. Do the students know what their job is? Have you clearly, using multiple instructional strategies, given them the information they need to complete the task? Are there multiple entry points and open-ended questions? Are students able to set their own goals and monitor their own progress? 7, differentiating by scaffolding. So has the task provide multiple examples of how to complete the work? Is this a good task for collaboration? In math, there are multiple tools available to the students so they can choose what works best for them. An abacus, Rec and Rec, number lines, and 10 frames are just some of the examples. What about visual supports and anchor charts? Is there enough time to complete the task? 8, providing differentiated enrichment and remediation. Are the tasks open-ended, or are there additional resources for students who need more challenges? Do you have extra books at various levels of difficulty available? Are there artifacts they can interact with during their free time? Are questions open-ended? Can you encourage students to elaborate by responding in more than one way? For example, a picture with a caption, or a 3D project with an accompanying paragraph, or a video with an explanation. 9, consider creating a flexible environment. In my classroom, students were allowed to stand during instruction within established expectations. We also had quiet desks and went outside to work, had a couch, chairs, carpets to sit on, chairs to use on the carpet, and a cubby to sit in. We had clipboards, whiteboards, and we made murals together. I've heard from many, many adults that they need to sit at a desk to work. But take me, for example. When I write my blog posts, I sit with my laptop, with the laptop sitting on top of a cushion, my legs lengthwise on the couch. I have a home office chair, and a table. However, I prefer to sit on the couch between the 2 large windows on either side of our living area that offer me much nicer views than my office. I also like to work with my legs up. I could work at a desk, but I am more productive on the couch. Number 10, personalized learning plans. As a former special education teacher, I am not a huge fan of personalized learning plans, or PLPs, and individual education plans, IEPs. Designed and implemented well, they can provide a supportive framework for a teacher and a student, and they become a concrete resource for a parent too. Too often though, they become a taskmaster. My preference is that as teachers, we incorporate Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, into our classrooms, and by doing so, we are already differentiating. By incorporating UDL, we are already differentiating. Then most often the PLP and IEP are just communication that we use to monitor student progress. These can be assigned by someone in special education or admin, or you may choose to track the student's goals, objectives, and progress yourself. Differentiation in the classroom comes in many forms, and hopefully this video has helped to simplify the concept. You will not be able to differentiate in all ways at all times, and implementation can look like many different things, but you can take a few first steps. If you're focused on standing at the front of the class instructing, maybe try adding notes on the board and even drawing a few pictures. No excuses, I am a terrible artist too, but I did improve over time. Or perhaps you could show a video or have students discuss a question together and then share their answer as a small group. Just start with one step at a time, affirm yourself, and then take the next step. You've got this. So for specific subject-related differentiation in classroom examples, I encourage you to watch subsequent videos on differentiation in the classroom for math, writing, reading, science, and social studies in order to have a broader definition of what is differentiation in the classroom. Next up, I will be posting on how to differentiate in math classroom. Join me there. Until then, please like and subscribe so I can help more teachers. Leave a question below or share one of your successes in differentiation. Let's help each other. Thanks so much for joining me today. Bye now.